Hello students. So today I am going to teach you the chapter Human Health and Disease. As you know, health, just like our health, another meaning of the health is wealth. And when this wealth means the health becomes disturbed, we are doing various types of the activities in our health like moving, jumping, playing, and thus metabolism, growth, reproduction, which you know in the class 10 you have studied. Those are also called as the common characters of the life. So when these life processed characters are being hampered in our body, that is called as the disease. So what is the disease? Disease means, you can say, the loss of easiness. So in this chapter, Human Health and Disease, we will know about various types of the disease and different types of their pathogens, symptoms, signs, and how to overcome them, and about some factors which helps us to resist, to protect the disease in our body. So this we will learn in the today's video. So students, now we are going to learn about different types of the disease. So just as now I have discussed already the chapter Human Health and Disease. This is the chapter. So now this health is wealth. Just now I have told already. You have listened it. Now we'll study about the term disease. So disease is what? Disease, note it down, the loss of easiness in body. The loss of easiness in our body is called as the disease. So when our body, this easiness is lost, when our body becomes infected by different types of the pathogens. So what is called pathogen, students? That's also write down. Pathogen. Pathogen is the disease causing microbes or microorganisms. You know, the great scientist Anton von Leeuwenhoek first discovered this microorganism. In the class 8 chapter you have studied the friends and foe. Remind it again. Pathogens. So pathogen is the cause of the disease. Means the disease is the result of the pathogens. So pathogens are various types. You have already studied. Like how many types of the pathogens are there? Like pathogens are virus, next is bacteria, next is fungi, next is protozoa, next is helminth. These are all the pathogens. They all are the pathogens. So these pathogens you are seeing, they all causes the disease. Now different pathogens, they are causing different types of the disease by their nature, by their character and mode of transmission and mode of symptoms and signs. So those materials we'll study now. So students, just now you have studied about different types of the pathogens. So you have studied the pathogens, the disease causing microbes. Now we'll study the pathogens and the disease they are causing. So that's virus, that's the acellular pathogen, and the disease it causes, that is the common cold and fever. And next, see, bacteria. It's a cellular pathogen and it is prokaryotic type, causes the disease pneumonia and typhoid. Next, helminth. The disease causes the helminth disease like elephantiasis, filaria, ascariasis, teniasis. These are helminth disease. Next is protozoa. The disease causes by the protozoa, that is the amoebic dysentery, or it is also called amoebiasis. Next is fungus. It causes the disease ringworm. It is a dermal disease. So these are all the disease and these are the pathogens by which the disease are caused. So you can see these all types of the disease are infectious types. So okay, so write it down, the list of the pathogens and the disease which they are causing. You have to study this disease, their common symptoms, signs and how to prevent. So students, I am going to erase it. So the first the disease you are going to study, that is the viral disease, means the pathogen virus. The disease it causes, that is the common cold it causes, and the name of the pathogen is rhinovirus. It is transmitted by sneezing by infected person. It is very much infectious. And what is its symptom? Its symptom is fever, headache, sneezing, cough, etc. How to stop this disease, that rhinovirus common cold? It can be transmitted by taking the paracetamol, different types of the drugs, medicines, paracetamol and also the vaccine by this. Okay. So next, after that, write down bacterial disease. So bacterial disease, you have to study two bacterial disease, that is the pneumonia and typhoid. Okay, so this erasing. So next, write down bacteria. Bacterial disease, first is your pneumonia. Pneumonia, name of the disease, and it is transmitted by the pneumonia. Write down pneumonia, remind it, it is actually one type of the fever causing disease transmitted by bacteria, and it is name of the pathogen, write down Streptococcus pneumoniae. Streptococcus pneumoniae. Streptococcus pneumoniae, okay, writing it properly. Streptococcus pneumoniae. It also causes the same like viral disease. It infects which part? Write down, infects lung and pulmonary system. Symptoms and signs are like the viral disease, sneeze, fever, headache, same like that. Got it? And it is how to stop this pneumonia disease. It can be transmitted from one person to another, infectious. It is transmitted by the antibiotics and drugs. Okay. Now next, write down after pneumonia. I hope you all are understanding. Next is, write down typhoid. Typhoid, write down name of the pathogen Salmonella typhi, the Salmonella typhi, that is the name of pathogen. And typhoid means it also causes the fever. It is the fever causing disease. Okay, so that means you can say bacterial disease, some of them like the viral disease. So write down, it causes fever, clear it, headache, and its mortality rate is also very much high. So that typhoid, that's also transmitted by the one person to another. It causes in our digestive problem also, means loss of appetite, loss of hunger level, and it can be transmitted by the contamination of air and water. Be careful, viral disease can be transmitted by air, water, an infected person, any. Bacterial disease can be transmitted by air and water. Any type of bacterial disease, that's maybe typhoid, maybe pneumonia, anything. Okay. Now next is yours, the disease, that is the, erasing it, next write down the disease, protozoan disease, protozoa, and disease which causes by protozoa. The first one that write down, amoebiasis. Amoebiasis disease, it is also called the amoebic dysentery, and the name of the pathogen, that's write down, entamoeba. That's name of the pathogen is Entamoeba histolytica. That is the name of the pathogen which causes the amoebiasis. It is also called as the amoebic dysentery. So obviously you are getting, amoebic dysentery means it infects in the intestine part. So where it infects, that's write down, infects the intestine. That's why it is also called as the intestinal dysentery or amoebic dysentery. So intestine means which intestine? Large intestine. Large intestine, cecum, colon, these parts are present. So large intestine, there it mainly infects. Clear it? So it is also called as the intestinal dysentery. And what are the symptoms of it? As it causing the intestinal dysentery, it causes different types of the symptoms like abdominal pain, loss of appetite, vomiting, and sometimes you can see swelling of the abdomen and constipation, and sometimes the cramp also. So these are the symptoms of this. So next, after amoebiasis, next write down, the disease is malaria. Malaria, it is transmitted by, write down, Plasmodium vivax. Plasmodium vivax by the vector female Anopheles mosquito. By the vector female Anopheles mosquito. This female Anopheles mosquito transmit the Plasmodium vivax, this pathogen. So what happens? Plasmodium vivax, it causes the malaria. This Plasmodium vivax, it has different types of the stages: sporozoite, merozoite, and also gametocyte stage, sporozoite stage. So if you will notice, Plasmodium vivax, it transmit its life cycle not only in malaria, in mosquito body, but also in human body. So that means you can say human body and mosquito body, in both body, Plasmodium vivax, when completes the life cycle, it has two life cycle stage. One is sexual stage, that is called the gametophyte stage, that is transmitted in Anopheles mosquito's body, and another is the asexual stage, the sporozoite to zygote formation, that is in the human body. So what is the side effect? What is the effect of malaria? That is the damages the liver cells, the hepatocyte cells, the liver cells, it damages. Write down. And next is liver cells. Next is the RBC loss. Means RBC red blood cell, erythrocyte cells, they are also being distracted by the Plasmodium vivax. So that's also their side effect, you can say. So that means you can say Plasmodium vivax not only causing the liver cell damage, but also it is infecting our circulatory system, means RBC. That's why you will notice malaria infected person, they becomes a little bit skinny due to loss of RBC. Okay, so these all are the disease causes by protozoa. So next, the last one, write down fungal disease. Next, write down fungus. Fungus disease. The name of the disease is ringworm, and write down the pathogen is, name of the disease is ringworm. And what is the name of the pathogen? That's write down Trichophyton. The fungus Trichophyton that causes the disease ringworm. So ringworm is which? One of the most infectious disease in man, and it appears in the skin, which looks the skin very dry, and sometimes the skin there, nails and the scalp there becomes dry. So symptoms, write down dry skin. The symptoms of the disease, write down dry skin, nails, scalp. Clear it? So scalp, nail, skin and the body parts, so they becomes dry by this. So this ringworm, it can grow in which region? The ringworm, this fungus, write down, grows in pit parts or the moist parts of body by sweating. Mainly by the sweating it grows up. Means you can say when the skin becomes moist, means the skin, sometimes by the sweat secretion the skin becomes moist up, and in the moist skin you will notice maximum the fungal disease occurs, like ringworm and also skin infection. So it causes itching and also different types of that irritation occurs in the skin. So you can say this all are the pathogens from virus to fungus and their disease. So I hope you all have understood up to this. So now next we will study So students, now next we will study, up to that you have seen different types of the disease, and non-infectious disease already before I have discussed, like cancer. Cancer is a great example of non-infectious disease. You have already seen cancer. Again I am discussing it. Non-infectious disease. Non-infectious disease. Non-infectious disease, they are not transmitted by any pathogen. Write down the disease which is not transmitted by any pathogen. Example, write down cancer. Cancer is which the abnormal development or abnormal growing up of cell by division. Means cancer, that is the abnormal growth of cell. Abnormal growth of cell. So due to the abnormal growth of cell, what happens? The cell rapidly forms tissue. So the tissue which are formed by the cancer, cancer, already this is called as the one type of death causing disease or high mortality rate, the cancer. So when different types of the cell in our body that grows up abnormally, that causes the disease like cancer. So cancer disease, how the cell grows up? When the abnormal cell grows up in our body, it forms the mass of cell that is called as the tumor. Different types of the external agents, like you can say radioactive substance, chemical substance like tobacco in the cigarette, alcohol, that activates our cancer or the carcinoma cells, which abnormally grow up, abnormally develop, and they causes the disease that is the cancer. Cancer, this disease, when grow in our body, the carcinoma cell infects our another parts of the body also, and which finally goes to the mortality stage. So this is the whole concept of yours, infectious and non-infectious, different types of the disease. Just learn it properly. So next topic I will start.